everyone, this is Manjunath. Today we are having a very good conversation with an esteemed psychologist who is also a researcher and educationalist, Dr. Archana K, HOD, Department of PG Studies and Research in Psychology, Katil Ashokpai Memorial College. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manjunath. It's my privilege being here.
Ma'am, to start with the conversation, I need to hear you about what was your journey in the field of psychology from past years.
Manjunath, I have been in the field of psychology, I would say, for more than about 25 years now. And it started with a very small dream when I was studying around 10th standard, where I thought that probably I wanted to mix literature and psychology together. And then as I started studying psychology, I got to know that there are certain misconceptions about psychology, and that included that it is only related to patients. As I went further and as I completed my journey as a master's in psychology, I also got to know that India has a dearth of mental health professionals. And again, when we talk about mental health, we always talk about patients or very serious issues that people face. But then we also know that there are many people around us who need someone to talk to, someone who can listen to them, someone who can respond and encourage them. And this is where I felt that just having a journey with psychology is not enough. When I started off, the cases were predominantly, I would say, with children and a lot of relationship issues. But now, over my 25 years of journey, what I can see is that the nature of the issues that we deal with in counseling has changed drastically. Now it has a lot to do with mobile phones, online relationships, a lot to do with body images, a lot to do with younger children having these problems, parents not knowing how to deal with their children, teachers, and most importantly I can say is work-life balance and work-related problems.
25 years you have experienced a lot in this current nation basically. In the conversation what you told, you mentioned about counseling also. So in this corporate environment or the technologically advanced environment, why do you think counseling is becoming more essential rather than optional?
To answer that question, we need to understand certain things. So when we talk about counseling, counseling is something that is just not related to psychology. Yes, there is psychological counseling for which a lot of training is needed, but then we also have people who can act as emotional anchors, support system, who can also call themselves counselors, not essentially psychological counselors. This is number one. And then coming to your question, we have come a long way from a world of industrial related world to now the corporate world. So this is one thing that we need to understand. What was important in the industrial era is the production.
Yes.
And the people behind the production were not important. But now when we enter the corporate world, the people are equally important. That means that now it is the health and the efficiency of the people which goes hand in hand with the efficiency of the work output, which in turn is how the companies do well. But we also understand that there are a lot of deadlines, there is a lot of pressure. So on one hand we do have a lot of work pressure, and we also understand that it could also influence their work-life balance. If people are not trained enough, it also includes updation. So if people are not updated enough, it can become a burden for them, and people might not really be enjoying the work that they are supposed to be doing, which can take a toll on their efficiency, the way they work, and the happiness involved with their work. And so I think now counseling in the work life, the corporate world right now is not exactly an option, but mostly an essential.
Yes, ma'am. As you told, it's very true, because as you mentioned, there is a drastic transformation from the industry based to the human resource based kind of approach in our corporate world. So basically, with your experience, what you have from these past years, what are the main common psychological issues which are being faced in corporate world?
One, they are all humans. So they would have all the experiences of problems and challenges that any human would have. So it could be within the family, it could be dealing with their environment, but then what makes corporate life more interesting is the pressure that they have to handle. The pressure could be from the customer, the pressure could be from their supervisors, it could be working in a team with their own team members, it can be trying to meet the deadline, it could be the imbalance between what is expected out of them and what they could give, and in addition any workplace the challenges like the interpersonal relationship with the people around them, the interpersonal relationship with the management, the requirements that the management has and their expectation versus what the employee can deliver. So there are a lot of challenges over there which are quite unique, I should be telling you that.
Yes ma'am, as you told, it's a very important issues or the things which our corporate world employees are facing. In that conversation you mentioned about pressure, which we can relate to stress also. So how this, because when it comes to corporate world, they will be focusing on the profit of that organization, and also in nowadays employee well-being is also being focused more and more. So how this pressure or the stress can impact on the overall organizational productivity or an employee's well-being?
Answer: happy employees is equal to happy company. Unless and until employee is physically and mentally healthy, which is like physically and mentally happy, they would not be as productive as they would be otherwise. And if they are not productive, obviously it hits the company in a big way. Earlier the targets were smaller, but now with globalization the targets are also bigger, the pressure is bigger, and we all know that stress is not just something that is emotional in nature, it can also affect the physical health, it also affects the cardiac health, the respiratory health and the immunity. So probably if someone is more and more stressed, it implies also, not to it also implies that their health will also be coming down. That also implies that they might probably take more sick leaves, they will not be as productive as possible. So yes.
As you told with your conversation, and what you actually think, does this Indian corporate world really making its way towards giving a proper mental health interventions to their employees? Or with your experience, what is the recent development which is happening in the corporate world?
Mr. Manjunath, this is quite an interesting question that you have put across. We need to understand that we are definitely moving away from income generation solely centered idea to an idea where even the people behind the income generation become important to us. So yes, it has been a slow shift, but there's definitely been a shift where the people behind the company, the ones contributing the company, have also become very, very, very important, and their mental health and their physical health is also taken care of. Initially it used to be just the HR, the HR department as such, but now we can also see that there are psychologists, there are also some doctors involved in the companies, there are also programs involved with the employee well-being, the employee engagement, where even the families are engaged with. There are also programs which are related to the mental health. So yes, India has come a long way, but definitely on track, I should say, that they do understand that healthy and happy employees is equal to a happy and healthy company.
There is a drastic, because in India we had that stigmatized kind of notions or the narratives with respect to our nation. But as your experience is telling that there is a drastic shift in this approaches to mental health. You told that there is high issues which a corporate world is basically facing with respect to their mental health. What are the misconceptions does this organization actually have regarding this counseling taking, or it can be psychologist in their organizations?
It's just not related just to corporates, I should say, that whenever someone goes for counseling, the stigma is always there. For example, you see someone taking counseling and the people would say like, you look okay, why do you want counseling? Is there something wrong with you? Why are you taking counseling? And people are looked at in a very different way, like, is this person okay, not okay? But when it comes to a corporate world, there's also something else involved. Anyone who goes for counseling would probably look at someone who's not fit enough. It could be fit enough in terms of health, or fit enough in terms of emotional values, or fit enough in terms of psychological values. Is the person not fit enough is something that for a long time that was there. But I think with the present generation of people, even the managements that we have and people working at the helm of the affairs there, we do see that there's a lot of destigmatization that is happening. A lot of people being aware and educated that seeking help is no longer a taboo, and it is not always related to a disability as such.
That is true. Ma'am, also I have another question. So as a HR manager or as a management, okay, what measures or essential criteria they have to take up in order to create a very good psychologically safer environment for their employees in an organization?
Yes, Mr. Manjunath, this is a very important question, and there have been quite a number of organizations which have actually taken this up, especially the MNCs do have a very good policy regarding this. One thing that we need to understand is this is not something that a single HR person can do. This has to be a part of the policy. Employee well-being has to be a part of the policy. This is number one. Number two is the awareness. Awareness amongst all employees that it is okay to seek counseling, it is okay to seek help. This is where they can bring about a safer place, a place for acceptance. This is again another thing. And then training of at least a few people who can be there for others. This a department can also take up the initiative of developing a very safe environment, a place where people can come and share, a place where they can trust the people with whom they are sharing. Because if the policy is not transparent, if the policy doesn't have an idea of trust behind it, it becomes very unsafe place for people to come and share. This is one thing. So if these people who are working with, especially the HR professional, if they can work in such a way that they are trained in counseling, if they are trained in the ethics of counseling, in the methods of counseling, then they can definitely give better help, better counseling, better understanding, and also a safe environment for the people in the organization.
That is true, ma'am, because with your conversation you told that expertise in counseling is very much important, one thing, and who are professionals, so they should be hired in a corporate and they can make a very good psychologically safer environment to the employees. That is where actually India is lacking with. So they are just hiring people who are not professional, just taking them into the consideration for the purpose of policy or purpose of any kind of rules and regulation, that's it. But as an organization or as a manager, HR manager, they should take up these kinds of important criteria in order to recruit a proper psychologist or a counselor.
Yes.
And this is my personal question. If a layman person like me wants to practice counseling or to learn what the skills of counseling, anything like that, so is it actually possible in India?
Yes, it is definitely possible. One thing that we need to understand, that though most of the professionals who are there in the corporate world do have vast experience working with people, they would probably not be trained in the counseling skills. So that is where they would probably lack, though even if they have a will to do counseling and the intent is also good, since they are not trained, probably the counseling that they are doing also is not as effective. So you do have a lot of online and offline courses happening across India, but before you choose to go ahead with one, you should always look at the content. There are many organizations which do offer such programs, and these programs are very specifically tailored to professionals whom we usually call lay counselors. Now, when we talk about lay counselors, we need to understand that these people are trained to deal with basic counseling. And a limitation that we should understand over here is wherever the lay counselor cannot handle the issue, or there is a psychological issue involved, or there is a pathology involved, it is always better that these cases are transferred or referred to psychologists or clinical psychologists. So now coming back to lay counselling, there are places where you do get trained in counselling skills. Before you choose the organization, there are certain things that you need to keep in mind. The first one is, how trained are the people who are training you?
That is true.
What sort of reputation have they built up over years? Go seek testimonials from the alumni and see how they have been helped. One of the places that I am associated with is Manasa Education Foundation for Mental Health, which is run by the Manasa Trust based at Shivamogga. Now, Manasa Education Foundation for Mental Health has been functioning from early 2000s and has over 4,000 to 5,000 people trained under it. It is a one-year diploma course in organizational and corporate counseling, which is offered by Manasa Education Foundation for Mental Health. It is also recognized by Manipal Skill Development Center, which is also recognized by NSTC. People who are trained under Manasa Education Foundation for Mental Health in corporate counseling can be also certified by the National Skill Development Center.
This is a great opportunity, ma'am, because as a layman person, if I am able to practice counseling also, so that maybe not for others, maybe I can also practice myself whenever I need that. So that's great opportunity we are getting, and also thank you so much for this wonderful conversation and experience that you shared with us. Maybe the viewers who are seeing that get that insight from your talk and also practice in this diploma courses or whatever they want, and how they can actually tackle with their mental health issues with respect to corporate world. Thank you.
Thank you.